Hey everybody, Edo here, and I am so excited today because it is the San Jose Protospiel. I'm at Game Kastle in Mountain View, and what I am going to be doing is meeting with a myriad game designers with their prototypes, and we're going to be taking a look. What I was trying to do was create a series of short videos that they could use to pitch and show to publishers and other people interested, because not everyone has that experience or equipment, what have you. They're going to be short. These are going to be like 3-minute elevator pitches on the games, have a couple component shots, pretty simple, going to work through a lot of people, but I'm going to do this one large video, which you can watch, and hopefully you are a gamer or a designer or maybe even a publisher. They'll all give their contact information, so contact them, but then I'll also provide these designers with access to just their slice of video for whatever they need to use it for. So, without further ado, let's check out some upcoming prototype games. Hey everybody, I am here with Glenn Cotter from Headcrafted Games, and this is Box Office Battle. Glenn, what's the elevator pitch of Box Office Battle?
So in Box Office Battle, you are the head of a movie studio, and you're working to create and then release your movies competitively with each other to, of course, in the end, make the most money.
Awesome. And so, from a mechanic standpoint, what are the key things that players are doing? I mean, I see you tap below of movies over there and the board, but can you take us through it?
So, each player is going to customize each movie to boost stats, depending on how they want to do it. You can go very efficiently and make a tight, just reaching the minimum, right, or you can overstaff and make the blockbuster movies. And then, that's kind of your own personal agenda.
Right.
Now, competitively, once you actually release the movies, you can still add advertising to each project to go up the buzz. And the buzz kind of sets the priority for the highest scoring.
Got it. And you're also, looks like you can acquire talent with the money you've earned,
yes,
and that kind of thing. And so from a game dynamic standpoint, I mean, what makes this game great? Why is it fun when you're actually playing it?
Well, I mean, there's two things. Like, I think in the one side is the customization that you can do in each movie. Like, you can play it very differently. Like I said, you can go very efficient and approach it like a puzzle, or you can just go like, I really want to make this great.
This great
thing, and stake all it, and even forego scoring one turn to make a bigger movie on the next round.
Right.
And then the advertising buzz mechanic, it's kind of like an auction out for a gamble.
For the die roll.
For the die roll. So, I mean, if you have the highest buzz, you will get the highest die. That's not the risk. The risk is, like, the spread. It could be a 6 down to 3, or second place could be also a 6.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. So, this is Box Office Battle. If people are interested, whether from a game perspective or a publisher perspective, how can they reach you?
Headcrafted@gmail.com or headcraftedgames.com.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being on.
Well, thank you.
Hey everybody, I am here with Michael Dunsmore, and this is Backyard Aviators. So, Michael, what is the pitch for Backyard Aviators?
Yeah, great. So, this is a light family racing game.
All right.
It plays in 20 minutes, 2 to 4 players, and the key is, unlike most racing games where you're driving something forwards, we have the worst machines possible. We are racing...
Or the best.
We're racing lawn chairs with homemade balloons on them, flying contraptions. And so to a large extent, we're going to be at the mercy of the wind to propel us across the finish line.
And so what are the core mechanics here?
Yeah. So the first thing players are going to do is they're going to try to jostle for their position on the board. And we have an action
because
selection.
These lanes matter.
Yeah. So there's 4 air currents. And we don't know exactly how fast those are going to push us until we get to the end of the round.
Okay.
But we have some probability to work on.
Big air versus small air.
Yeah, so the card backs will tell you the chance of how fast that's going to end up being for you.
Got it.
So we're going to try to put ourselves in the best position and also try to hurt the other players a little bit. So we have our player reference sheet will tell us our action selections available to us. We'll have 3 choices and get to do 2 actions. The base things are we have a card of hands, and we get to play some of these to do cool things, like we have a wind gust, we could switch some of our wind speed cards. There's a push your luck mechanic, so you can turn on your little motor and push yourself forward, but you take some heat tokens, which we might end up overheating and then not moving later. We can also, there's some take that, we can like do a swap part and throw these at other people, or we could mess with other people, we can pop their balloons and move them out of position.
And then so basically everyone maneuvers, and then you have this big reveal of the wind.
Exactly.
And then everyone moves.
So then you reveal it and you can see what happens, and then you have that cathartic moment of, I succeeded, or oh no, I busted. So we reveal all these cards. They'll say numbers 1 through 5, and then, so in this case, red picked the best lane, they'd move 5, and everyone else moved a little bit less. We got 4s, and we got a 2, and then you reset and do it to again, and the first one across the finish line is going to be the winner there.
Awesome, awesome. And so what, from a gameplay perspective, why is this game great? Like, what makes it fun?
Yeah, so what I find really great about this game is everybody is in the race the entire time. It keeps you, there's this real tenseness of closeness in placement, and you always have the ability to affect and jostle for position. So if someone else is getting ahead of me, I can start throwing extra heat at their engine to get their engine to overheat, to get them to come off the track so I can go ahead of them. And I can maneuver, try to find the best lanes and get away from other people. So it ends up with a fast racing game that you can play a couple times in a row if you want, but that you don't feel like you're ever out of the race.
Awesome, awesome. And so gamers or publishers, if they're interested, how can they find out more about this?
Thank you so much. Yeah, my email is mddunsmore@gmail.com. That's my name, Michael Dennis Dunsmore. I'm also, you can find me on Twitter at @DunsmoreGames, and I'd love to show you more about this.
Awesome. Thanks for being on.
Thanks, guys.
Everybody, I am here with Rob Grenius, and this is Superbloom, which is super pretty. What's the pitch?
Pitch is, it's a lightweight casual game, abstract concept. It runs about 15-30 minutes, 2 to 6 players. You get a hand of cards, use those to place flowers on the board, score at the end of the game.
Cool. And so that placing the flowers on the board, with that mechanic, how does it work?
So there are 2 ways for flowers to appear. Each turn you'll play a card. Flowers may either bloom from these stones, exactly. Starting the game, it'll be full of stones, no flowers out there. New flowers will appear and will grow on the board. You may also, instead of blooming a new flower, have a flower replace an existing one. So a yellow flower could move and replace a blue flower out there. Those are the simple placement rules. The game's over when you've played all your cards or all the stones are gone, and then you score.
And each player has a different value.
Each player at the beginning, after they've received their cards, has secretly wagered 0 to 3 points, 1 value on each color flower. The more of that color, the more points you get.
Awesome, awesome. And where can people learn about it?
So I do have it registered on Board Game Geek. It's on there. There's a print and play version out there as well.
There you have it.
Basic,
play right now.
Basic graphics. You will need your own 8x8 board. Other than that, that's where I'll be updating things. No company or website as of yet, but hopefully soon.
Cool. Well, so if you're interested, that's where you can learn more. And this is Superbloom. Thanks. Hey everybody, I am here with Jason Harris and Citizen Heroes, Defenders of Metroville. And so, Jason, what's the pitch for this game?
So, Citizen Heroes, we are defending Metroville against an evil villain that's coming to defeat Metroville, and that villain is being played by one other player. So
asymmetric.
It makes it an asymmetrical cooperative game where the villain plays differently than the citizens, and the citizens are all working together and cooperating to make sure that all of the citizens are scoring and making points and not being left behind. So.
Awesome. And so what are the key mechanics at play here when you're with the game?
The key mechanics, the basic core of the game is a set collection game.
Okay.
So it's a mechanic that most people understand, so it's rooted in that easy to grasp concept but it expands on, the game expands on that core mechanic and adds a lot of depth with character selection and
their powers.
The citizen powers and the supports and the events that come up that trigger randomly and unpredictably.
So as a player, I've got my hand, I'm building sets, and then playing them to go against the villain, right? To score points, and what's the villain doing?
So the villain is also trying to score points, and they have different ways that they can score points. They also can make sets by capturing cards from the center row or taking cards from the citizens, excuse me, and making sets of their own. So they're going to be scoring points on the score tracker. But they can also score points by adding these red threat tokens to these cards in the center row. And when these threat tokens build up to 3, the villain gets to capture that card and use that for their sets. And they also score points for the threat tokens that are on the card.
And we don't have the full box out, but there's a large set of villains and a large set of citizen heroes.
Yes, there's at least 9 citizens that are available to play, and there's 3 villains that all play differently. They all have their own different decks, and there's a scale of difficulty as well.
And so if you could collapse it down, what makes this game great?
So what makes this game great is how the citizens all have to work together to score points and score more than the villain. Because in this game, all the villain has to do is score more than one of the citizens, and the villain will win.
So the lowest player.
The lowest player, yeah. So in this scenario that I've set up here, the villain has scored 25 points, and the lowest citizen, which would be this red one, has scored 26. So in this case, the citizens would all win. But in the case that the red player has scored 24 and the villain scored 25, the villain would win because they just scored more than only one of the citizens, and that's all they need to do. And they would even win in the event of a tie, the villain, because they're strong enough to defeat even a tie. Yeah.
And you have this amazing.
Yes, the first player marker. The first player marker will rotate during.
Just talking about the skyscraper.
Yeah, the skyscraper. Yes. Well, it is Metroville, so it is a city. It's metropolitan. So I wanted something to represent the city. So I had this pretty awesome 3D model made, and it works really well. People love it. They love holding it and moving it around, and it's really, I wanted something that really captured the city, and it also was big enough on the table that you could know that that's the first player.
Awesome.
Yeah, there was no question.
Well, so this is Citizen Heroes Defenders of Metroville, and how can they get in touch with you, Jason?
I have an email, jasonTharris@gmail.com, or my phone number.
Okay, your phone.
Okay.
You have his email.
And yes, you have my email. And I'm willing to take any questions and talk to anybody about this game. I love this game. I've tested and played it in all over the state and multiple states with hundreds of people, and I get lots of different feedback, and I just love making this game better and showing it to more people.
Awesome. All right. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Everybody, this is Brian Hopkins from Games for Spiders, and this is Flesh It Out. What's the pitch?
So, Flesh It Out is a creative party game of simultaneous action and monster mashing for 3 to 7 players that takes about 30 to 45 minutes. You and your friends are going to be fighting over these various pieces, which are like chunks of meat, pieces of garbage, various limbs, to try to convey concepts like horse, hesitation, and helicopter. And then after you've all done that, you're going to take turns guessing each other's things. You get points if you guess other people correctly, and you get points when people guess yours correctly.
And from a mechanics perspective, am I just drawing a card? How do I get the word? How does that work?
So it starts off, we'll draw a card for one of the concepts. So this is one of the medium difficulty concepts. We have president, mayor, team captain, warden, CEO, and so on. And then we're each going to get a number assigned to us that's going to tell us which thing we're making. So if I receive the 1, I'm going to have to make the president. So everybody's simultaneously making things that are fairly similar in concept. So you have to somehow not only make the thing that you're trying to make, but differentiate it from the other cards.
Cool. Well, so if people are interested in this, where can they learn more about it?
So you can go to gamesforspiders.com to get onto our mailing list, and most of the media we post and information about events is going to be at the Games for Spiders Facebook page.
Awesome. Well, thanks for showing us. It's certainly got a really cool look and looks pretty entertaining.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Hey, everybody. I am here with Josh Costello from Past Bedtime Game Design.
Got it right.
And this is Free Luna. What's the pitch?
Free Luna is a co-op deck builder for 1 to 4 players where you are playing a team of revolutionaries who are fighting to free the people of Luna from the tyrannical forces of Earth.
Gotta save the moon.
Gotta save the moon.
So what, you said a deck builder, but how does it play? What's the core mechanic?
So the core mechanic is it's a deck building mechanic where you're trying to recruit new members of lunar society into your revolution. And so your cards generate influence and credit, and also sometimes combat. You use the influence and credit to recruit new characters into your deck from the recruiting board. There are activists, anarchists, religious leaders, martyrs, community leaders, all kinds of different members of lunar society that can help your revolution in different ways with different kinds of combos, different amounts of influence and credit that they generate in turn.
And then how is that used with the board up here? How does it work?
So there's a public opinion tracker. You can also use influence instead of recruiting characters. You can use your influence to move public opinion up towards pro-independence. Terra gets its own turns where it moves public opinion down. It's actually recruiting its own characters from the deck to work against you.
And over here we win, over here
we win, over there we lose. Yeah, eventually we can inspire an uprising against Terran forces. There's a board where we keep track of how many soldiers, so many militarized police really, that Terra has sent to Luna. Eventually you're trying to get rid of all of those. You can also assign characters to missions. So that takes them temporarily out of your deck while they are working on setting up a peaceful protest, sabotage so that you stop something that Terra is trying to do to you, propaganda to help move public opinion, all kinds of different missions that the characters can do. And different players can assign characters from their own decks to the same missions. There's some ability to work together.
And so with all these, you know, the mechanics, dynamics, everything that's going on, what makes this game great? Like, what's special about it?
I think it captures the feeling of working together with a small team to affect a big change. I think it's really fun to put your team together. I've got my team. Some of my effects, actually, the combos will generate an advantage for somebody else, for a different player's deck. Some of them are for myself. But it's that moment of like, oh, wait, we need to run this mission so that we can get this effect so we can stop Terra from doing that. Oh, wait, but I need to use my characters to do this other thing I was going to do. And that negotiation and trying to work together to figure out the best way to move our cause forward is what I think makes the game fun.
Awesome. Well, so how can people find out more about this?
I'm on Twitter at Single Combat CG, which is my other game, Single Combat. Past Bedtime Game Design has a website on Tabletop Generation, and I'm on Facebook and Instagram and all sorts of places like that. You can find me.
Awesome. Well, thanks for showing us the game.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everybody. I am here with Taylor Schuss, and this is Gerrymandering. What's the pitch?
The pitch is that it's an area majority / control game where there are different barriers, and a lot of the types of those games you tend to destroy people's units or win outright. This is a political game where you play as political parties, and you are instead moving the barriers. You're moving the boundaries of those districts, changing where they are. You cannot mess with their units. They're on the board forever, actually, but you can push them into districts that are worth less points. You can make them fight with other players. All the while, when districts are resolved, when elections happen, you're drawing tiles from this bag, so you never know for certain who's going to win a district.
And you spoke about the core mechanics a little bit, but it really is that moving the lines to try and make the different shapes to get the most points. What, you know, from a gameplay perspective, we know the political impact of this, but what's fun about this experience? Like, why do people love it?
It's fun because you can be mean to each other. It's, you know, it's a tad of take that, mind you, but it's never so mean. They're always somewhere, right? If I push you out of this district like so, you're at least there, right? You're never taking someone entirely out of the game. There's always a shot that you can make it come back or push yourself in a better district.
Right. Cool. Awesome. Well, if people, whether they're gamers or publishers, are interested in learning more about this game, how can they find you?
They can find my Twitter, which is @DrawnOnward, or they can go to my email, which is tschussgamedesign@gmail.com.
Awesome. Thanks, Taylor. And this is Gerrymander.
Thank you so much.
Hey, everybody. I am here with Mike Trias from Quality Games, and this is Center Stage. What's the pitch?
Well, Center Stage is a casual game for 2 to 4 players, runs 15 to 30 minutes, and basically you are a celebrity judge on the new hit TV show Center Stage, and your goal is to form the next big trio.
Cool. And so wait, what are the mechanics for doing that?
Well, it's simple. The contestants hit the stage one by one, and you use these movement cards. It's play a card, draw a card. And they either move forward down the stage, or you could even turn the entire stage and have them face another player. There are some special cards where it allows them to discard and all these special powers, but by the end of the game, you have 4 contestants, and then you cut 1, because that's what happens in the music business.
Sure, so you have your final 3, and then you get scoring out of that?
Yep, high score wins, but it's not all about the points of the individuals. It's like poker hands where straights and 3 of a kind and stuff like that also factor into the equation.
Cool. And so what's great about this game?
Well, what's great about this game is that it's a very interactive game. You're able to interact with people on the level of, for example, you play the role of the judge, and you get to give a backhanded compliment to each person and say, for example, Jesus, I think your voice is somebody's.
So it's a role play, a little role playing, a little fun and storytelling as you're playing the simple mechanics.
Yeah, so you get to go up against your family or friends and really play like you're on American Idol or The Voice.
Awesome. And I have to say, this the small form factor with how these sleeves fit into the box. That's pretty cool, man. I mean, I give you big credit for that. That's a really cool little trick you got there. But so this is Center Stage. Hey everybody, I am here with Jeremy Welch, and this is Cry Wolf, and the company is Play to Mars. What is Cry Wolf about?
Well, here we have an asymmetrical children's game with the assumption that we can play something that's a little more strategic than your average children's game. The characters are not created equal. The sheep are probably the easiest character to start with. The wolf gets a little more complex, and the shepherd has the most complexity to it. The sheep are a chaotic character where you play as the entire flock, and you're trying to move all over the board and collect all the sheep.
Okay.
The wolf is a sneaky character, and the shepherd is a controlling character. So the shepherd can control in two different ways, kind of like a more micromanagey, I'm going to grab the sheep and move them from point A to point B, because the shepherd wins when 4 of the sheep reach the pen.
Okay.
The wolf wins when 4 of the sheep have been taken, and the sheep win when all of the grass has been collected.
And this is a 3-player game.
This is a 3-player only game.
Cool.
And it depends a lot upon that dynamic.
And so you talked about the win conditions. How do players move the creatures and characters? What are the cards?
So all the players play a little bit differently. They're all kind of playing their own. It's asymmetrical. They're all playing their own game, right? So as the sheep, you're basically just turning over a card, which yields some random result, which is either helping the sheep, or it might help the shepherd, or it might help the wolf.
Okay.
Then they move all their characters. So all sheep move 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, all over the place. And then the shepherd, then the wolf is moving 2 different pieces. One we call the shadow piece, and one which is the wolf. The shadow piece, as they branch off, becomes part of a bet that the wolf places at the end of their turn.
Okay.
Which is, I'm either telling the truth, or I'm telling the lie. And so the wolf player looks at the board and says, okay, I think I know what they're going to do next. I choose to tell the lie. And I cover it up. And then turn goes around, the other players take their turn, and it comes back. And at the beginning of their turn, they reveal, okay, so you thought, as the shepherd, that you were going to line up with me and send me back to the cave. But I told the lie this round, so I'm not actually right there. I'm actually right here.
I see. Oh, cool. So it's sort of...
And now I proceed as normal. Move the 2 pieces, spread all out, and then take my bet at the end of the turn. And it goes around like that for the wolf.
And so when people are playing, because you've given an overview of the game, what's great about this game? What's really unique or fun?
One of the most interesting things that happens is you get that beautiful 3-player dynamic where one person starts to, like, the game clicks for one person and they start to run off with it, and the other 2 go, oh no, what's happening right here? We have to work together. Okay, so you have a sheep and a wolf working together to try and stop the shepherd from winning the game, or the other way around.
Right.
And so you end up with these weird temporary friends. And then all of a sudden you shift the other direction, and it saves a lot of. It works really well.
Awesome. Well, so we have a number of gamers and potentially publishers watching this video. How can they learn more about Cry Wolf?
Well, we would invite you to come to our website and check it out, and please contact us, as a matter of fact.
And the website being?
The website is www.playtomars.com.
Awesome.
And that's Play to Mars.
Good clarification. Thanks. Hey everybody, I'm excited because I'm here with Danny Devine and Stephen Aramini. This is Franken Farm. What's the pitch, guys?
So in Franken Farm, it is set in the Frankenstein world, and Igor has retired, so we are Frankenstein's loyal farmhands, and we are trying to become the next lab assistant. And we are going to be managing our farm of animals to try and convert those to lab parts so that we can build our lab, and the first person to complete their lab wins the game.
Cool. And so, what are the mechanics? What's happening over here on this board? How does it all work together?
So on this board, every round, this pawn's going to move around. So depending on whose turn it is, like if this was your turn, then you get to take these actions in this order.
Oh.
There's ways to manipulate the board and stuff.
Dynamic action selection.
Dynamic action selection. But the various types of actions is you're going to be getting resources from your animals. You're going to be Frankenstein new freak animals together, like this cow, half sheep. And using these resources to go into town.
Some great cheese right there.
I know, right? trade in for lab parts, and that's how you build your lab.
Cool. And so, I mean, what makes this game? I mean, the theme's fantastic, but what makes this game great to play?
It's just a lot of fun to manage your what we're calling dead stock, where you keep these animals die when they run out of resources, and you give them a new brain, and you bring them back to life so you can get new resources. And this action selection thing, like you said, is very dynamic, and it's been really fun testing that out.
Cool. And so, if gamers or even publishers are interested in this game, who should they talk to?
Either Steven or myself. We're both working on it together. I'm active on Twitter, so at 3D-Divine, D-E-V-I-N-E.
And my Twitter handle is at Steven Aramini, S-T-E-V-E-N-A-R-A-M-I-N-I.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys, for showing us the game, and thanks.
Thanks.
Hey, everybody. I am here with Scott Rogers, and he has Castle Climbers. What's the pitch?
Oh, the pitch is, when my daughter was 4 years old, she came to me with a drawing. And it was of a castle with a princess and a person climbing it. And I said, honey, that's a lovely drawing. She said, Dad, that's not a drawing, that's a game. And so I looked at it and I said, hey, this would actually make a fun game about fantasy heroes climbing a castle trying to get treasure. So many years went by, I made a very rough prototype, and my daughter, who is now 16 years old, is also an excellent artist, and she did all the beautiful art that you see in Castle Climbers.
This is a family project.
This is a family project. So the game is very simple. It's a family type game, tile laying, in which you are building this fantasy castle, and your little characters are climbing up trying to get treasure and other magical goodies, but avoiding all the evil guardians that are trying to prevent you. Part of the fun is that each of these castles get built, so we put down like a little ground tile. You're going to be drawing tiles out of a bag.
And the players are building up the castle.
Yeah, players are building up the castle as they go. They are moving their meeples to climb up, but if they get to little guardians, they have to make dice rolls. And if they fail the dice roll, they fall all the way back down. If they fall in an area where there's a moat, they might get chomped on by a shark and have to get out of that. But there are other things that will help you. You can make magic wishes to make dice roll successes. You can find magic swords that allow you to plus up your dice rolls. Every time you land on, say, like a magic sword, you put down a little cube, and that occupies it, so you can't go back and keep milking it. But there are other mechanics, like the wish and maybe placing a turret, that allow you to remove the cube and return back to that spot and get another advantage from that.
Cool.
You go up all the way up the castle to where there are treasure chests. You get these lovely little gem tokens. On the backs, there will be different values, so you can do some set collection with it. And at the end of the game, whoever has the most points in gems with sets, a few extra points for having the wishing stars and the magic sword tokens, and a fun little mechanic that we calculate the elevation of the character that gives some bonus points to help for the end of the
Player
game.
got the furthest. And so, if you could boil it down into what's fun about this game, what's the dynamic? What's fun about it?
What's really fun is that it's very simple to play, it goes very fast, and you get this ever-changing castle. You can even do things like drop a bomb on a tower and blow up an entire column of the castle, changing the architecture as the game progresses. So then you have to adjust for it and rebuild and get your characters back up to where the treasure is.
Cool. And so for those who are interested in learning more, whether they're gamers or publishers, how can they find out more about this game?
Well, there's a listing on Board Game Geek under Castle Climbers, or you can visit my website, which is Mr. Boss Design on blogspot.com.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thanks for showing us the game.
Thanks for giving me an opportunity to talk about it.
Everybody, this is Andrew McCunnon from Slam Games, and we're talking about Zombie Legacy. So what's the pitch?
So what's the pitch? So Zombie Legacy is, strangely enough, a legacy-based combat game.
With zombies.
With zombies.
All right.
The initial purpose of the game is really just to survive. You're in a city. You are a small group of survivors starting in a compound. And from the legacy deck, which is the very first thing that you will play with,
sure,
you will basically follow through some interesting things that lead you to the point where you realise that, hey, we don't have enough food and water, we're all going to starve to death and die.
Gotta get outside.
We've got to get outside, and now we're going to go out into this city, which is kind of infested with zombies, and we've got to find this water and food and return it back here.
Well, so in terms of that motion and action, what type of mechanic is it? What type of gameplay is it? Is it action selection, or how's it working?
It's really, it's quite straightforward kind of, action selection game. You have three real options that you play in order. You move You enter into some kind of combat, and then you can collect or drop things or trade them.
Cool.
That's really how it goes.
And without spoiling anything,
Yes.
what are some of the legacy? Your characters changing, the world's changing?
So this is a great one, actually. So you start with a blank character sheet, and the whole game is actually character-based. It's very much kind of RPG influenced. So the first thing you want to do really is pick how your character looks, and feel free to take a sticker and stick it on it.
Well, I'll leave this for you, but you're going to select the sticker, put
Select
it on.
sticker, we put it on here, then
Cool, guys.
we get to
Gals.
the kind of meat and drink of the game, which is some backgrounds.
Plenty.
Plenty of backgrounds. Each background has a letter beside it that has an in-game effect at some later point. So as you unfold the legacy deck, you will gain motivation cards. And these motivation cards may give you a bonus. They may require you to act in a particular way or do a certain thing. Some are secret, some are not secret. But they will fundamentally change how the game plays.
Cool.
And then at the end of each episode, so one game is an episode, there's generally a choice. You're left with some kind of dilemma that will have a meaningful change. So you may decide to do one thing, and you kind of never can go back to where you were before. You're now on a story that takes you in this direction rather than that direction.
And so if you boil it down, like really what's sort of compelling and fresh about this game? What stands out to you?
So we really wanted you to care about your characters more than any single thing, I think. So many zombie games you have disposable characters that you feel very little about. This is a game where you're going to be invested in the character through time. They're going to change, the game's going to change. You may get into situations that make you feel less cooperative with your friends. Maybe you'll be completely non-cooperative with your friends. So it's really exploring, I guess, the dynamic between the players as they play their characters really through the game itself.
Cool. So if people want to learn more about Zombie Legacy, where can they find out some info?
That would be www.slam.games.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being on.
Thank you very much.
Hey everybody, I'm here with Jill Devereaux, and this is Animalanium. What's the pitch?
Well, this is a 2-game series, and you can play them consecutively if you want a longer third game. The first game, well, actually all the animals of the world are lost, and the first game you're a tracker and you have to locate your animals. And the second game is more strategic, and you move to the board game, and that's when you have to take them home to their homeland.
So you're collecting the animals, and then you are playing this game with them. And so what's the basic mechanics in the game? It looks like you're going to roll dice and move. What else?
Right, you roll dice and you move, and if you land on a voyage card, you pick up a voyage card, and that can do all kinds of crazy things. It can move you, and you swap with other players, and there's a lot more strategy involved than a card game.
Cool. And so what's really fun? I mean, it looks like a kid's game, but what does it bring out? What do people enjoy?
Well, the kids game, the card game has is more for younger players, and it's bright and colorful. And the board game actually has these tokens that the kids love to see, and bright colors and lots of animals on it. And they get to get even with their parents at times, and that's the thing they have the most fun with.
Yeah, these little guys are pretty awesome. Were these handmade?
Yes.
Wow, that's super cool. Well, so if somebody wants to learn more about this game, Animalanium, how can they do that?
They can email me at jhd as in David, v as in Victor, EREAUX @gmail.com.
Awesome. Well, thanks for showing us the game.
Thank you very much.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
And that, folks, was a whole lot of games and gaming. Not even everything that was here. I would say there was probably 40 or 50 games here. That was just 13. But kudos to everyone who worked and tried to make a pitch video and show the game. They were all at different levels and different level of designers, but just super cool. And if any of those games are of interest, please do reach out to the designer and learn more about it, whether it's for publishing it or checking out when the Kickstarter is or any of that stuff. So, thanks a lot. Hey everybody, Edo here, and thanks for watching Gaming with Edo. Reviews over here on this playlist, League and Insider videos over here on this one. Subscribe, share, all that good stuff. But most importantly, play some great games.
Thanks.